Some seasons feel cursed, but this one feels personal. Because on Sunday afternoon, in the cold rain of New York, it became painfully clear: the Atlanta Falcons are no longer fighting for Raheem Morris. They're barely fighting at all. The moment didn't come in a dramatic sideline blow-up. It didn't come in some fiery press conference. It came in silence. In a simple repost. From a former Falcon who couldn't hide the truth any longer. But we'll get to that. First, let's talk about what everyone felt in their gut watching this game: a team drifting further away from its head coach, week by week, mistake by mistake, heartbreak by heartbreak. Raheem stood at the podium afterward, talking about missed opportunities. But how do you blame opportunities when the biggest problem is the man directing them? This wasn't an opinion anymore. This was reality the whole country saw. Atlanta outgained the Jets. Atlanta controlled the clock. Atlanta created more first downs, more rhythm, more chances. And still, another loss. A 56-yard dagger through the rain that felt like a message: something is broken in this locker room. And then came the riposte. A former Falcon quietly echoed a painful truth: that the breaking point wasn't today or last week. It started the moment Raheem cut a respected assistant, a move players never forgot. That small fracture became a crack, then a divide, and now an open wound the whole league can see. The Falcons aren't being blown out. They're not collapsing in chaos. They're losing by inches, the kind of losses that only happen when a team no longer believes the man leading them can help them finish. And that hurts even more than the scoreboard. Every close game, every late mistake, every fourth quarter collapse. They tell the same story: talent isn't the issue, belief is. And the special teams? A disaster. A weekly fire alarm. Missed tackles, huge returns, free points. The kind of breakdowns that scream of one thing: a coaching staff that's lost its grip. Falcons players know it. Fans feel it. Former Falcons are now saying it out loud. Atlanta didn't just lose to the Jets. They exposed the truth the organization has been trying to avoid. This isn't a team that's tired, this is a team that's done. But the most painful part: the season isn't over. The heartbreak isn't finished. And the problems, from special teams to quarterback decisions, are only growing louder. Because every time the Falcons step onto the field now, one question hangs over the stadium like a storm cloud: if the players have stopped believing, how much longer can this go on? There's a moment in every broken season where you stop blaming luck and start blaming truth. And Sunday delivered that moment with a punch to the chest. Because the Falcons didn't just lose to the Jets, they lost to a team that wanted to lose. A team tearing itself down for the future. A team with nothing to play for but draft positioning. And Atlanta still couldn't finish the job. Yes, the coaching is collapsing. Yes, the structure is fractured. But now the players are cracking, too, in the biggest moments, when the pressure turns into noise and the stadium feels like it's shrinking around them. The drops. The mistakes. The special teams disasters. Every flaw feels louder, uglier, heavier, like a storm no one in the building knows how to stop. But if you want to talk about one player who embodies this unraveling, you have to talk about Mike Hughes. Because the numbers don't just look bad, they look like a warning sign the team refused to listen to. All afternoon, Adonai Mitchell lined up across from Hughes like a wolf circling the same wounded deer. Route after route. Catch after catch. Cut after cut. Mitchell didn't just beat Hughes, he owned him. 7 catches. 97 yards. A touchdown. All on the same helpless defender. And here's the worst part: these weren't historic numbers against the Falcons. They were some of the biggest numbers recorded by any receiver against any single defender in the entire league this season. On one play, the deep shot from Tyrod Taylor, the ball left the quarterback's hand with barely a quarter chance of success. Then Hughes slipped, and the impossible became inevitable. 52 yards. A touchdown. And another reminder of a player who simply can't hold his ground anymore. It wasn't the rain. It wasn't the field. It wasn't fate. It was a veteran who keeps giving away explosive plays with no sign of fixing anything. At some point, the team needs to stop pretending. Start D. Alford. Start Kobe Bryant. Start anyone who still has hunger in his eyes and fire in his chest. Because this season isn't about playoffs anymore, that dream is dust in the wind. This season is about honesty. About seeing who still has pride left when the standings don't matter. And that brings us to the heart of the team, the offense. Kirk Cousins fought through the rain and the noise to put up 234 yards and a touchdown, not spectacular, but steady enough to give this team chances. Kyle Pitts played like a man finally freed from months of frustration, attacking the ball, stretching the field, reminding everyone why he was once the league's most terrifying matchup nightmare. And Bijan Robinson, good lord, carried the offense on his shoulders. 28 touches. Almost 200 yards. A touchdown earned with pure force of will. But the problem isn't the stat sheet. The problem rises beyond the numbers, beyond the effort, beyond the flashes of greatness. Because every time Cousins makes a throw, every time Pitts finds space, every time Bijan breaks free, a bigger question shadows everything. What happens when Michael Penix Jr.'s turn finally comes? And that question is where the real storm begins. There's a moment when watching this Falcons offense where you feel two completely different worlds colliding, one led by Kirk Cousins, the other by Michael Penix Jr., and they don't just look different. They feel different. With Kirk, the offense suddenly breathes. Drives stay alive. The ball comes out on time. The noise settles. Even without Drake London, the heartbeat of the receiving corps, the offense moves with purpose. 7 pistol plays. 7 formations designed for a different quarterback, abandoned the moment Kirk stepped to the line and made his own adjustments. It was like watching an old engine suddenly roar back to life after months of sputtering. But when Penix takes the snaps, everything tightens. The playbook shrinks. The formations become predictable. The offense operates like it's wearing a cast, stiff, restricted, terrified of breaking again. You can see it. The pistol-heavy design wasn't chosen out of creativity. It was chosen out of fear. Fear of Penix's mobility. Fear of the injuries that haunt his past. Fear of what happens when pressure meets fragility. The coaching staff built the offense around protecting him, not empowering him. And that alone is a problem no team can hide from. But here's the twist. Even after watching Kirk stabilize this unit, even after seeing how different the team looks with a veteran controlling the field, the future still isn't simple. Because keeping Kirk isn't realistic. His contract becomes an anchor next year. A $35 million weight dragging the franchise backward. If the Falcons want to survive the next era, they'll have to let him go, thank him, respect him, and move on. A hard truth, but a necessary one. And yet, you can't just hand the keys back to Penix and pray. You can't run the same sheltered offense, the same predictable formations, and pretend the results will magically change. The Falcons need competition. Real competition. Another quarterback, drafted or signed, to stand beside Penix and force this team to make the right choice, not the easy one. Because relying on one fragile plan is how franchises fall apart. And Atlanta has done enough falling this season. Deep down, fans know the truth. The quarterback room isn't settled. The future isn't secure. And the team is standing at a crossroads with no clear direction. But the story's not over. The collapse might feel inevitable, but rebuilds often begin in moments like this, when everything looks lost, and the only way out is forward. The Falcons need clarity. They need vision. They need leadership that isn't afraid to make the hard decisions. The question now is simple: will they choose courage, or repeat the same mistakes again?